My name's Fiona Young. I'm the manager of Places to Play at Tennis Victoria. I think we all value the beautiful natural environment and the access to clean air that we have in Australia. We're a sport-mad country and we feel it's important to preserve and enhance those facilities and that environment. I think it's also something that we need to care about. If we look at the impact that climate change has had, especially over the last few years, and we look at tennis as an example of that. We've had extreme heat at the Australian Open, we've had toxic smoke from bushfires that's made its way across the courts, we've had players and spectators that have suffered because of it, and most recently we've seen floods. So some of our beautiful grass court facilities up along the Murray that have been inundated, and some of our other courts that are going to take a while to recover. These sorts of things are only going to be more frequent and more intense. So we need to look at ways that we can mitigate those effects, how we can adapt and plan for the future and build our resilience. So environmental sustainability is part of Tennis Victoria's strategy to 2024, and it began with looking at energy usage and trying to reduce that because it is one of the biggest costs for our community tennis clubs. But it's also become a bit larger and more encompassing because now Tennis Australia have developed a sustainability strategy with climate action as a key pillar in that. And Tennis Australia was one of the first, if not the first sport in Australia to sign on to the UN Sports for Climate Action. I think it's a key focus and probably something that tennis wants to be an industry leader in that space.
My name's Tom Keel from Carlton Gardens Tennis Club in centre of Melbourne. My previous role at the Carlton Gardens Tennis Club was as president, and I'm currently running a couple of social sessions there at the moment. I also have another role which is related to sustainability, which is part of the reason why I'm very interested in this topic, and that is I lecture at Deakin University in sustainable construction and property development. We have had many initiatives. One of the ones that I was most proud of was actually bringing in the United Nations Sustainability Goals, the Sustainable Development Goals to the club, and we actively sat down and went through the 17 goals to see how many we could implement. So naturally, as we considered our sustainability, we looked at our lighting source. At the time, we had some very old halogen lamps. We also have very large oak trees around us, which meant very few hours of sun. And so the next step was to think, if we can't do solar panels, what should we do? And we just switched to green power and the LED lights. And the combination of green and LED meant not only did our usage go down dramatically, but our costs and our emissions went down dramatically as well. We were offered a new session where we had an open one with no costs, and at the same time we used old balls for it. So another competition or session would have their balls at the end that they'd only played for a few hours with. We'd happily take them, and we're able to offer a session to people where they could come along for free. We also looked at equity, where we made sure that as the committee evolved over time, we went for at least a 50% split between men and women, which was quite easy to achieve, and it's still in place. So with regards to recycling, we were very keen on that, having decided that we were going to try and be a net waste facility. Tennis Club naturally doesn't have a lot of waste, but one of the things that we were collecting was quite a lot of glass bottles. We're very appreciative of the council in terms of all the funding they give us for other green initiatives, but in the case of the recycling, being in the middle of the park, it was a little bit difficult to coordinate. We actually acquired some specific glass recycling bins from the council over the road and would actively bring them across the road on collection night. And we had noticed also there was a prevalence of water bottles coming around. It's of course one of the sustainable goals is to have fresh water for players and also to eliminate the use of one-use plastic. We had at the time in the clubhouse a small bar fridge which had a sign that said you could buy bottled water for $2, and we made the decision to remove that. We at the same time put in aqua bubblers on each of our 4 courts and in the general area, and we encourage people to do that. And now of course we have a very, very low amount of plastic waste at the club. On our website, we encourage the use of cycling and public transport. We clearly list all the appropriate stops for people to get off on either train or tram, and we did a few years ago put in a series of bike racks. To recap it, to start on a journey, it's identifying yourself, setting your goals, and then putting plans in action from there.
For clubs wanting to start their journey, please jump on the Tennis Victoria website, have a look at our environmental sustainability page, contact your club development officer. We're here to help, we're here to guide as much as we possibly can. Our message and our encouragement is just start the journey, just get going.